welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new, we're going to be discussing The Chase by Elle Kennedy. And you might be, if you're not new, wondering, Rosie, didn't you just start reading that yesterday? And my reply is, yes, I did start reading it yesterday, but I was reading it until 3 in the morning, so I finished it already. So it's time for a review. Honestly, I love this book, but one thing I need to say is, oh my god, I was trying to work out the timelines, and I was just so confused sometimes because I was like working out, have I met this character already before, and where do I know this character from? Because I'm like, I've already been introduced to you because I'm reading two Elle Kennedy series at the same time that take place in the same place, same townhouse, but at different time periods, but they're all related. Like, I just read The Mistake, and one of their roommates is Dean, and I love Dean. Dean is one of my favourite side characters. I haven't actually read his story. And then The Chase, Summer is Dean's younger sister. And I was just like, wait, okay. Honestly, the mind games this book series has been playing with me, of me trying to work out where everything's happening, is intense. But I did it. I read it. I really enjoyed it. Two characters is Fitz and Summer. They live in the townhouse together, so we have a forced proximity. Everything kind of goes pear-shaped on New Year's Eve for them. She's flirting, she likes him. He's trying to convince himself he doesn't like him because he doesn't want to get with Dean's sister, because he's like, no, Dean's one of my really close friends and I don't want to screw that up with Dean. And she overhears him trying to convince himself not to like her by saying, oh, she's surface level, fluff. He doesn't mean that, he's really into her. And then she gets upset. She goes and kisses his other friend Hunter, who's been hitting on her that night as well. And it gets more pear-shaped from there, because when he's like, actually no, I'm going to commit to it, I like this girl, she likes me, and then he stumbles upon them kissing and he's like, no, I thought she liked me. It's like, he didn't know she overheard him, she didn't know he didn't mean any of this stuff. And then, oh, she got kicked out of her previous university because of fire. She accidentally set her sorority house on fire. She said it was a candle and her being drunk. Realistically, she got a really, really bad grade because of her learning disability, and she was really upset about it because it was making her feel horrible, so she lit it on fire because she didn't want to look at it anymore. And I relate to that as a dyslexic person who nearly failed one of her essays because she mixed up the word plant and planet, but I get digital feedback, so I couldn't even light it on fire. Anyway, but as a whole thing, that's like the whole premise of it. And because they live together and because they keep missing understanding each other, they butt heads so much. And I love it so much when they butt heads, because they're developing and they have so many misunderstandings that if they just sat down and talked, they could talk about it. But because the way they are each perceiving it, it seems so much worse. And then they get together and it's cute. There is like the sad part of Hunter, because Hunter is also their roommate, the guy she kissed at New Year. And he's like, I like you. He just like keeps appearing in her room in the beginning of the book and falling asleep on her bed and cuddling her. And it's like, he genuinely likes this girl. And he's like, no, I couldn't. I actually really like this girl. I want to go out with her. And she's like, yeah, you're sweet and I kind of like you and I'm attracted to you. But I don't feel the same spark I feel with Fizz. But I don't know if Fizz likes me or actually wants to be with me in any way, because he went on a date with Nora, a girl, and actively ignored me. And like, he's been talking about how I'm da-da-da-da. And like, they sort all them problems out. Then they end up getting together. And then it kind of causes a bit of tension in the house because obviously he's upset. They also need to start telling each people when they're dating, because yet again, one, Hunter walks in on them whilst they're having sex and like, oh, this is happening. He's clearly drunk, he's upset, everything, da-da-da. That was one time. And after the first time, you're like, maybe we should tell people we're dating. Second time, they're in the penthouse of their parents, and guess who walks in? Not the parents, no, the brother. And the brother's like, what the hell? And they're having sex again. And he's like, I'm not looking. And then obviously, as tradition, which is, instead of going, you can't date anyone I've dated or related to, or like, no, it's just like, you have to tell someone that you're interested in them and pursuing, and then if they're cool with it, then they're cool with it. Just don't do it behind their back. He did not tell him. He got kicked in the balls for it, which is an appropriate response from an older brother who's very protective of their younger sister, I feel like. But anyway, they get together. They all know. They almost have a breakup fight because there's a mean billionaire, which I relate to in this current climate. But like, And she's like, yeah, but I just cost you your job in the dream industry that you really want, and I feel horrible because you don't want to be in the spotlight, and I just bring drama in the spotlight, and you already said that. And he's like, I don't care, I want to be with you. Being with you is worth all of these, and I still love you, and then have that I love you fight, which I love, because I love when people get so passionate and they're worried about each other to the point where I don't want to hurt you, let's break up, and they like fall like, but I love you, I don't care about that. I just love fights like that in books. It's so romantic and so dramatic. It's like a telenovela, but in a book, and I can understand the words because my Spanish is very, very poor. But anyway, as a general book rating, I would give this like a solid 4 out of 5. It does have adult relationships in it, so if you're under the age of 18, I would advise not reading it because, well, it's an adult romance book. On top of that, I feel like the book as a general, I really enjoyed it. It was one of my fastest reads of the year, but even if it's a fast read, it doesn't always mean it's a good book. I think I just enjoyed it because it had a lot of the tropes I tend to enjoy with it. Because it had enemies to lovers, it had false proximity, it had a lot of butting heads, but I also liked how they developed and helped each other. Like, he wanted to base one of his characters off her and off her likeness, but she needed help with her essay and all stuff. So they agreed that he would help with the essay and help her talk through it and write it and proofread it, while she would allow him to sketch and draw her while she did it. And it's like how they started developing their relationship and foundations, which led to them getting romantically involved, which I absolutely love. I feel like that was such a good way for them to develop and build a relationship. I honestly really enjoyed this. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would recommend all books I read, because even if I don't like a book, you might like a book. So I believe all books should be recommended to people, apart from Colleen Hoover books, but that's my personal opinion. There is one gripe I have with this, and this is the professor. I know he's in there, but also at the same time, I don't think he needs to be as sleazy as he is. I hate sleazy professors. They just, they make my skin crawl. It's like heebie-jeebies all over my body. I don't like it. I don't like it. I really just don't. And like whenever I read it, it feels like, I'm reliving watching Gilmore Girls when Paris is dating that professor, and I'm just like, no. He's the same age as Rory's grandfather, who you view as an idol and like a kind of parental figure because you've worked with him and you idolize Rory's grandfather, but yet you're dating a man older than him. No, I just don't like. The idea of student-teacher relationships really just creep me out, regardless of like their age difference and stuff. Personally, I don't think that's an appropriate thing, but also like TAs and students, I can get behind. Students and teachers, no, there's a very clear power dynamic, and that's not going to be a healthy relationship in any way. Ugh. But anyway, now we're on to my favourite part of trying to choose my next book again. So here are our potential candidates. To shorten down my TBR, because I always get stuck on what books to read next, I have a current TBR, which are the books I want to choose from that I'm going to read from, and they're like prioritised kind of situation. But anyway, let's get into it. So, because we've just read The Chase, we also have book 2, The Risk, that takes place with Jake Connolly, which we're getting a love interest that's not from the uni, people. He is from Harvard. And it's Summer's best friend from the book we've just read. So I'm hopeful. I really like the best friend in the book. Her name is Brenda, I believe. I like her sassiness. I like just kind of, I love female friendships in books when it's just like, it's not just about, the friendship is just like iconic. She's the coach's daughter for the Briar U team. And I think it's really interesting that she might be dating a Harvard hockey player. And also, someone clocked it. The entire book, every time she was talking to someone, she's like, no, I'm talking to the other Harvard player. I'm like, she's like, no, it's going to be Jake. I'm calling it now. It's Jake. What about Jake? And she's just like clocking it. And I find it funny because now it actually is. She just clocked it the entirety of the first book. But anyway, then we have Elle Kennedy, The Score, which is Summer's older brother Dean's love story that takes place a year before that one. I'm interested in reading this. This is book 3 in the off-campus series, so that would keep me on track with those. Next up, my forever book on the TBR shelf that has been on the TBR for so long, Hate Mail. I feel sorry for this girl now. She's been on there for a long while. I'm sorry, I just haven't got round to reading you yet. I'll try, I promise. And then we have My Dark Desire, a Cinderella retelling. I just finished reading My Dark Romeo last month. I really enjoyed it. I feel like I would also enjoy this. Cinderella is one of my favourite series. Well, series as in like collective media series. I call it that because there's so many different iterations of Cinderella over the years now that it feels like it's a series that has just multiple timelines. But my one gripe, Disney, how dare you? How dare you? If you remember in the original animation, she's strawberry blonde. She's not blonde. Anyways, that's me. But My Dark Desire, good contender. Sticking to the hockey theme, we have Behind the Net. I have read the Fake Out. Yeah, the Fake Out. I did really enjoy her books. I'm in a hockey mood apparently. I'm feeling like I might finish up a bunch of hockey books whilst it's still hockey season. So then if I want more hockey content, I can just watch highlight and blooper reels. I actually fell asleep to a compilation video of hockey highlights of hockey players being silly. It's like penguins on ice, but penguins are slightly aggressive but silly at the same time, and it's so funny. I'm slowly getting into hockey, so yippee for me. And then we have My Vampire Plus One. I really want to read this one. I read the one earlier this year. Out of all my books, My Roommate is a Vampire was one of my favourite reads so far of the year. I love the dynamic. I love Frederick. Frederick is amazing. You should go read it so you can introduce yourself to Frederick. He is iconic. It might just be me that loves Frederick, but I don't care. I will die on the hill. I love Frederick. But anyway, I'm really intrigued to read this. It has Reggie in. Reggie actually has a functioning power. I'm quite interested in reading it. And she has a new book supposedly coming out later this year. And on the topic of a new book, I have a moral dilemma at the minute. So I either get the new Hunger Games book that's coming out, or I go to the new Hunger Games play that's also coming out. And I'm just like, realistically, I probably don't have the money for both at the same time period because the pre-sale is on the 25th. And I have to save all my money for the pre-sale on the 25th for the Hunger Games, the play, or I save all my money for the release of the new Hunger Games book and get that. And like, I don't know. I might wait and see what the price of the pre-sale for the Hunger Games the play is, and depending on how expensive that is, either book that, then get either book that or then get the book. But also, Hunger Games has a play. I want to be one of the first people to see the Hunger Games play. I love theatre. I'm not at an art college. We're studying set design for theatre for no reason. But anyway, that's an entire separate note. But there are our potential books. But what are your opinions? Which books do you think I should read? Have you read any books? Do you have any book suggestions? Also, would you be interested in seeing a video from me where I catalogue all the books I have and go through all the ones I actually own at the minute? So then when I'm choosing books, I can just go, maybe you should go check out this video so you can tell me if you've seen any of the books on my shelves that you think I should read, possibly. But anyway, that's all for today. I really enjoyed reading The Chase. I think you should go read it. You probably will enjoy it if you like hockey romances, sports romances, false proximity, enemies to lovers, or bumping heads, and also if you like it where their relationship actually has a foundation. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I'm actually going to end it this time, and comment what book you think I should read next.